Hello everyone, and welcome to my first ever commentary type video. Probably the last one as well because I'm not really a commentary type guy. In fact, I wanted to become an animator instead, as you can probably tell from my older stuff, but that hasn't been going too well lately, unfortunately. So I decided instead to talk about something I'm very passionate about. As you can tell, it's about this blue rat named Sonic. Today I'm gonna tell you guys my dream 3D Sonic game. I even got my little notebook right here with everything I wrote on it. So for starters, it's gonna be called Sonic Timelines. It's kind of an odd title, but you're gonna get why I called it. So basically, it's gonna be a mix of Frontiers and '06. Two of my favorite Sonic games. Not my favorite though. That would be Unleashed. It's gonna have basically the same kind of tone and writing as '06, but the gameplay will just be a more enhanced version of Frontiers, or just a better Frontiers. You're gonna have three main campaigns, so Sonic, Shadow, Silver, just like '06. But instead of playing as different characters during those campaigns, it's only just gonna be those three. They're gonna be the three main guys only. And the game will take place on a massive island. I'm talking like GTA type island. And here's the interesting gimmick for this game. All of them will be on the same island, but at different time periods. Which I know at first seems like random, like why? What's the point of that? Well, here's the cool thing about Sonic, Shadow, and Silver's dynamic. Something I didn't even realize until years later, is that each of them represent different time periods. Shadow represents the past, Sonic the present, and Silver the future. And I thought that was really cool. So I thought for this game, just really take advantage of that concept and just go wild with it. Basically, just have them be stuck on the same island, just in the time periods that they represent. Now, how would that work story wise? Honestly, I have no clue because you see, I'm no story writer. I can't write a story to save my life. I just think conceptually that's really cool, you know. So that's gonna be like the main cool gimmick and the reason why I called it Sonic Timelines. So yeah. Okay, so in terms of developments, this game will be developed by the current Sonic team because honestly, I know Update 3 on Frontier was very polarizing, but I personally liked it. I thought that the level design, especially, was very solid. So I trust them to design a very good game this time around, especially since their team has increased in size. But one thing I don't really trust them with is visuals, because as much as I liked Frontiers, visually that game was pretty dull for the most part. So I decided for this game is they team up with people who are more competent in terms of art direction. And I thought no one would be better than CyberConnect 2. Now I know that seems like a random choice, like how do they even know of Sega? Did they even work with Sega before? Shockingly enough, yes, actually. Sega actually published one of their later games. I think it was a Demon Slayer game. So they are familiar with each other. And when I realized that, I was like, boy, they need to bring in these guys for a Sonic game. Because pretty much for this game, that I want them to be the visual guys. Okay, so like Sonic team will develop the level, develop the design of everything, but CyberConnect 2 will be the visual guys. They would animate all the fights, all the animations, the models, everything. Because I trust them that they would make that shit look fire. So yeah, I want CyberConnect 2 as the visual guys for this game. So now in terms of like level design in the open zone, it's pretty much gonna be what everybody wanted Frontiers to be. So the platforming would actually be integrated into the level, into the open zone itself. It won't be just random rails and platformers like it's some kind of mod. No, this time it's actually gonna fit the environment they're in. And another thing is that this game will obviously have speed sections, or not speed, but cyberspace type levels. They won't be called cyberspace because obviously that's a Frontiers thing. but it would function the same as like adventure, where like you complete a puzzle or you do a certain task to get a new level unlocked. It's gonna be like that, and obviously they're gonna be completely original, original environment, original level design, no reuse stuff. So yeah, I mean, but knowing Sega, they might reuse two or three stuff just because they can't help it. But for this game, hopefully they would only stick to original stuff. And now another point is that obviously one of the most iconic things about Frontiers were the crazy epic boss fights. And as much as I love those boss fights, they're still amazing. They truly like blew my mind when I first played it. As much as I love them, I don't want them in this game. At least not in every boss fight. I want them to be like the final boss fight. For this game instead, I decided to actually bring back rival boss fights. In fact, if you can tell from the image that I have, the one on the left, Eggman, Metal, and Sage, those are actually meant to be the rivals to Sonic, Shadow, and Silver. Eggman would obviously be Sonic's rival, Silver would be Sage's rival, and Shadow would be Metal's rival. I know most people might think, well, shouldn't Sage be Shadow's rival? But personally, I think Silver and Sage are more interesting, just because their powers would really clash with each other. So yeah, basically the boss fights would play similarly to the Naruto Storm boss fights, the 1v1 ones. So they'd be more engaging, more interesting than a regular fight you would have, and they would also still have the epic music and the crazy over the top, like quick time events and stuff, basically like the Naruto Storm fights. Yeah, so that would be like the boss fights for this game. Instead of just massive Titan fights, it's just rival battles, but with the same kind of intensity and badass vibe. So, okay, let's see. What have I not talked about here? Okay, yeah. So for the final campaign, I instead have this cool idea where instead of it's like a traditional campaign, it would be a big, massive level, a big climactic one where you play as all three hedgehogs at different segments. So like the first segment will be Sonic, the second will be Shadow, the final will be Silver, stuff like that. Just a big, huge level, like pretty much Eggman Land, but on even a crazier scale. That'd be the final, and then after that you get the final boss fight, which pretty much it's gonna be like the Titan boss fight, but more climactic and insane because obviously you have three hedgehogs this time around, three super hedgehogs. Now I don't know who the final boss fight should be. I know most people think it's gonna be like the God Sage mentioned at the Final Horizon update. Uh, I don't really know what it's because again I haven't wrote a story. I just made up cool concepts for a game. But as long as the cool, scary deity type character, I think I'm pretty satisfied because, it's 3D Sonic. You have to have that crazy type of final boss fight. So yeah. Oh, and when it comes to the soundtrack, I pretty much just want '06 mixed with like Frontiers because I think those two have like the best soundtrack in the franchise. It's amazing. Just give me a mix of those two, and we're pretty solid. And yeah, I think I pretty much mentioned everything I wanted. Yeah, pretty much everything. So yeah, thank you for listening for my perfect ideal 3D Sonic. Sorry if the video is kind of rushed or very old school. It's just I didn't write a script for this. I just wrote down bullet points of stuff I want to see, and just kept on yapping. That's pretty much it. Hoped you liked the video though, and hopefully agreed with my points and my arguments. If you're interested, you can type in your own idea for the 3D Sonic game. Hopefully, I read it. But other than that, yeah, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day.